Hey, what's up, guys? So today we have a CZ Scorpion EVO 3A1. This was given to me. Well, it's not mine. It's my. It's a good friend of mine's, and it was given to him for free. And it was all together, and I took it all apart because it wasn't shooting. And come to find out that the electronic trigger unit in this guy is no good. So we're gonna slap a Jeftron Leviathan. And we're gonna DSG it. Let's get into it. Alright, to give you guys a quick rundown of what part choices that we're going with here. For starters, we're gonna stick with some of the stock parts, and those being obviously the cylinder. I didn't see the reason to swap it out, as it's just fine the way it is. And then the cylinder head from ASG is really nice. It's got all that buffer right here and all that rubber contact with the cylinder to create a really good seal. And leaving the nozzle, despite of it not having an internal O-ring, the fitment between the nozzle and the cylinder head is so good that it doesn't even leak. So I don't see the reason why to swap out the nozzle. That is in really good shape. We're also sticking with the stock barrel. It is a 603 by 208 millimeter barrel, so I think the amount of short stroke on the DSG is going to be just enough for this barrel. And the barrel has really good finish inside. And for now, we're going to go with the stock hop-up unit until the owner is ready to change out to a more rigid hop-up unit. So we're going to stick with the stock one for now. As far as new parts go, also the tappet plate. I'm going to stick with this guy because I don't see the reason why to swap this out unless it breaks. So now we're going to move on to the new parts. Piston of choice, we're going to go with the Bugatti. I have a lot of good experience with these pistons. They're light enough for this DSG set. The goal is for around 330-350 FPS at around 40 to 45 rounds a second. I think this piston is not too heavy for the setup. We got a FPS soft air silent piston head with a AOE washer already installed because I got a feeling that it's going to need it. I ran these in DSGs before. They hold up just fine, so we're going to go with this guy. And they make very little contact on the piston heads, and it does help a little bit with how noisy it is. And then to secure it, we have the FPS soft air spacer. This is kind of the preload spring to get that FPS up a little bit higher. And then we have an extra long screw, and this baser here that's just below the screw is also made out of polymer, so it's going to keep it very light. Here's our gear set: rocket DSG, rocket 18-to-1 gear, and a rocket bevel. And the gears, I find that the gears that come with the Warhead Industries motor mesh really well with the rocket bevel, so I'm not worried about that portion of it. And so the Warhead Industries motor that we're using is a standard speed. Now, of course, you guys already know we're throwing in the Jeftron Leviathan in it, EVO 3. And then, of course, I'm only going to be putting in 4 J-cage bearings. Reason being is because I always put solid bushings underneath the sector gear and the spur gear, because that's the only time I've ever seen bearings fail. So we're going to stick with the solid ones. If there's ever a premature engagement incident, these bearings will not fail. Tried it time and time again, and they don't fail. Even on premature engagement on DSGs that I've ran into in the past, as long as the bushings underneath this gear and this gear are solid. Alright, so we're going to move on and get these gears, all these parts here, into that gearbox. Okay, never mind. So I forgot this uses a short type motor, and all my warheads are long type, but this T238 is a short type, and it's a 33K. So yeah, we're gonna throw the T238 motor in it instead, and I think that'd be better anyway, because then now the customer will be able to adjust their rounds per second. Ooh, let's get this bad boy in. Okay, first things first, before I put this motor in this gearbox, or set it up for this gearbox, I'm going to have to transfer this collar over to this guy so that it keeps the pinning gear centered with the bevel as it spins, which will make it cycle and sound much smoother. And voila, it's on. Okay, so now that I got the motor taken care of, that collar sits in there nice and straight. Yeah, so that's dead center now. So this Scorpion should sound pretty good when it cycles as far as the gears go. So now I can move on to modifying the gearbox for anti-reversal latch, and this is where I'm at so far. I ended up taking off some material down to right about here, flush with this side of the gearbox, and then running the screw down on this side of the shell straight through. That way I can take a piece of the anti-reversal latch. Here, let me get this bevel out of the way so I can show you guys. I took a regular old anti-reversal latch spring and I bent the back end of it kind of like this way, facing down into the gearbox, and then I bent it this way so that it will spring back the anti-reversal latch itself. So got a little bit more modifying to go, because after I did this, that spring right there raises this anti-reversal latch up just a little bit. So I have to take the other side of the gearbox and grind away that amount of material off the other side, and I'll show you what I mean. And since I already put the bearings in there, in the gearbox, I went ahead and put some tape over the bearings so that way when I cut through this metal here, the shavings don't go in the bearings. Alrighty, got it all done. Check it out. Nice clean cut. I filed it down after I did a cut with my Dremel and got it nice and flat as possible. And yeah, just to show you what it looks like. I am gonna have to shim it just a little bit as I did take a little bit too much material off, which is fine. That's what shims are for. And yeah, and then I'm gonna put a shim on there so that it doesn't wobble around very much, and I'm gonna go from there. Okay, so I put the shell together with the two screws right here and here, and I put the bevel back in to test this. So see how she sounds. I don't know if you can hear that clicking, but that's the anti-reversal latch doing its job. Now I'm going to try to go the other way. Nope, it won't let me. And then I just put a 0.3 thickness shim right there, and it holds it nice and straight and keeps it from running into the teeth on the bevel. I went with the screw on the back side here. My plan is that I'm going to take the original screw and feed it through the top as I take this out, so that this won't be in the way. So I'm going to move on to the MOSFET. So yeah, here's the Jeftron Leviathan, and one thing I wish I knew, I should have opened up the package to begin with, but it would have saved me some work if I wouldn't have known that it came with a pin and an anti-reversal latch and spring to do this mod. I actually had to dismember a anti-reversal latch to get this piece right here, but this works too if you don't want to get a Jeftron Leviathan. This method works, but I think I'm going to go ahead and use this right here because I think this would be a better method than what I want to try and do right here. If you do go that route, don't cinch it down, use the Loctite to lock that sucker in and barely tighten it down, barely. That way it doesn't mess with the shimming work on your gears, because it's going to squeeze the gearbox closer together. So about to the point of assembling the gearbox. Got the Jeftron Leviathan all set, got the trigger, and I checked all the micro switches to make sure they work, and I got the rail ready to go for DSG to make this piston a little bit more lighter. Other than that, I realized that we're gonna have to order a spring guide with the ball bearings on it, so that way the spring, this is not it, but the spring, the M150 spring that we're gonna put in this thing, doesn't experience too much stress, because when these springs compress, they do a little twist, and putting a ball bearing on either the piston or your spring guide relieves that stress, and it less likely of breaking your spring versus if you don't have that. And I don't have ball bearings in the piston because I don't want to make it heavier than it already is to avoid premature engagement. So I'm going to throw this thing together and move on. Alright, got the gearbox together. All the screws put in. I upgraded to a stronger spring for the tappet return. So this is really strong, so it should prevent mid-cap syndrome if there is any. And keep the FPS up on full auto. I got a feeling that I might have to take this back apart and trim that tappet plate a little bit more, because I didn't take off very much material. I just took it off until it's in line with the axle, so we'll see how that goes. But other than that, just gotta throw it into the receiver and do some test firing. Oh, one more thing. I did use Jeftron's little dowel thing that comes with the kit. Very nice, and that was much easier to use, and the fitment's so much better. And I ended up using their latch because it didn't wobble as much as the one that I did have. So just food for thought, guys. When you get the Jeftron Leviathan, it does come with everything you need to do this mod. Okie dokie. So before I put the rest of the thing together, I'm doing a partial put together to test to make sure everything is running smoothly. So first I'm going to test semi, and then a 3-round burst, and then full auto to make sure that's functioning correctly. So here we go. So it's on semi. So far so good. Okay, 3-round burst. That's good. Now full auto. Hell yeah. Okay, got it all together. Loaded up a thing of BBs in this thing. It's only like a 70-round magazine, so full auto is going to be real short. And then the battery we're using is this guy, 11.1, 1100 mAh battery. And we're able to use this because of the brushless motor in this thing. It pulls hardly any amperage on this guy. So that being said, let's head over to the chrono and see how she performs. Oh, and real quick, off camera, I did chrono this thing, and I had to add some spacers to it. I modified the spring guide so I can fit the Wyshtech spacers, and I put 3 of them on there, and they're about, I want to say, 1/8 of an inch thick. So I put 3 of them on there, and put the FPS right where I want it, which is about 350. Okay, chrono's ready to go. Now, we're going to check semi. Bad. That is pretty damn consistent for a DSG. All right, 3-round burst. Not bad. All right, now full auto. I'm just gonna mag dump it. Done. Oh, yeah, the FPS dropped a little bit. It ain't bad. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments. Yeah, so we're gonna head back to the workbench and discuss a few things. Alright, so back to our former glory. I'd say this is a pretty successful build. Guys, let me know what you think of it. I'm pretty sure my buddy's going to be very happy with how this thing turned out. Even the mag cutoff works great. It works when it's supposed to. Semi, 3-round burst, and full auto work great. That thing sounds so clean when it cycles. You don't even hear the gears at all. You just hear that piston just flying away. So we got about 46 rounds per second at about 350 FPS, which is right where we wanted it, because this is going to be a CQB gun. After the break-in period, I'm sure the FPS is going to drop down just a little bit. The owner does plan on swapping out the hop-up unit in this thing to, we're probably going to go with the max hop-up. A pretty damn good hop-up for this thing, and it's going to be much better than than the little twist dial thing. Other than that, guys, let me know what you think. If you have any questions, just leave it down in the comments below, and I'll try to answer as soon as I can, or you can join my Discord channel. You guys have a good one, and thanks for watching. See ya.